It's that collaboration with really creative people to develop projects and ideas.
Being able to tell a story of somebody or something in an interesting and unique way.
I get to put it all together in a way that makes it all look good and it's seamless. It's really gratifying to be able to say I did that at the end of the day.
I get really excited when you put some pictures next to each other in editing that give you an actual feeling. So there have been moments in the edit suite when I've exclaimed out loud or when I've choked up even. Directing is a huge part of that because you have to anticipate how the picture is going to go together. You have to anticipate the narrative of the story, how it's going to flow. And you have to have a little bit of foresight and a little bit of luck. And when that comes together, that's my favorite part.
And 3, 2, 1.
All of the content that we air, both the content we acquire and the content that is produced locally inside and outside the building, I oversee all of that.
So directing is interesting. For instance, on Iowa Press, everybody is ready and everybody knows exactly what they're doing. They've done it before, right? And when I first started, I was pretty nervous because I thought, who am I to tell these people how to do something they've done dozens, maybe hundreds of times? And then I started to realize that a director in that role, especially on Iowa Press, is somebody kind of like a ship captain. You're not rowing the ship, you're not even steering it necessarily, but you're making sure everything's happening in concert. The audio person might know when to fade the level up for the microphone. The cameraman might know when to go here, when to go there, right? But it's your job to usher that in. And they're listening for a track. They're listening for a voice that says, here's your point, here's your point, here's your point. And it's your job to feel that out, respond to what they need, and just give them a voice that says, here we are in the show, because they know what they're doing pretty well.
I work on a lot of our series shows, specifically Iowa Ingredient, Love of Quilting, Sew It All, before it went away, the Iowa State Fair. And for those shows, I do a lot of the organization that needs to happen to make sure when you're doing a series of shows, a lot of the same parts of it are repeated. So keeping it organized and making sure you've got all the parts of it for each show done and ready to go. Create a lot of spreadsheets and that sort of thing to keep track of those sorts of things. I also help with our weekly shows with Iowa Press and Market to Market and do everything from technical direct those shows to doing graphics to running video, and occasionally if they let me get to direct here and there, which is really fun too.
The technology is available now where anybody can create a video production. But to me, the best video productions are the ones that are able to communicate something. And I think to be very successful, you need to be a good writer, and I think you need to just be also a really good listener. You're there to listen and to get all those interesting elements and then to shape them into a good story.
When I was young, I always liked movies, as many of us do. And when I became a teenager, I took more of an interest in how they're made. Why is this picture making me feel this way? Somebody's probably to blame for that. So I wanted to find out, are they doing it on purpose? Is it an accident? That kind of thing. And I wasn't sure what to do after high school. And I thought journalism would be a way of sort of getting into that, working with cameras, communicating with people. I guess a roundabout way in, but when I was in high school, I guess you could say.
My job requires me to work with different teams who are in charge of producing programming for Iowa Public Television. That's weekly shows, specials, promos, things like that. And so I just supervise the creation of those shows.
My main job is working on the program Iowa Ingredient, and it's a cooking show that celebrates Iowa food. Within that show, though, we have multiple features, and features are completely different than a studio show or going out for a big sporting event. Normally, it's myself and a camera operator. I'll go and research and try to find areas across the state and meet farmers or chefs or people doing food-related things, meet with them, and then we'll interview them out in the field somewhere or wherever they're cooking. And then we get lots of B-roll footage, and that's just making sure that I have all the various video elements that I need to kind of cover and make the production all the more beautiful. When I get back into the station, my job is to write and edit those pieces. And so I'll spend a lot of time writing, working with our talent to get the voiceover copy ready, editing everything together to tell a really good story.
My advice would be to do as much as you can of every type of thing you can in production. Being able to go a little bit further and specialize yourself, like I really love graphics, or I really love editing, or I really love doing camera. I would say just be able to touch as many things as you possibly can to be able to see what you really enjoy.
My advice would be to listen to everything all the time. If you're working under a director, listen to their instruction, and then watch and listen how people receive that instruction. Watch and listen how a cameraman reacts. Watch and listen how the audio person reacts to all these directions, so that when maybe it becomes your turn, you can anticipate how people might react to the things you say.